How you doing, everybody? It's Michael again. Wanted to come again and start to talk with you. Hope everybody's having a good day. So far, so good. Things have been going well. Trying to get a couple things done here. Today, we're going to talk about fear and why I'm pretty sure we're going to have another recession. Because I was listening to the issue about the Fed, and don't look good. It's already bad. This guy, I can see why people are afraid because, besides picking the fight with the richest people in the world and everything else, it's almost like at some point or another group of people came in here and now all of a sudden this isn't America anymore. And to tell you the truth, I don't know, I've been hearing, we need to leave. And I'm talking specifically, mostly to just, if we look at it, we got somewhere to go. Black people do. I don't know about the rest of you, but sinking ship is a sinking ship. So let's talk about fear and how this is going to work out. Okay, fear, number one, pretty much is the beginning of the end of everything that you'll ever care about. Because the minute you're afraid, the minute you can't progress. Because fear grips people in great many ways. And these days they call it depression. There's acrophobia, macrophobia, racoda, whatever. They've come up with so many things. And when cave people and people before us, were into this, and people were having children out in the fields, and they were, all of a sudden they were just back to work the next day. It's bad, people. I feel sorry for people that are afraid, that are paralyzed by this. And so, one of the big things about fear is the fact that fear is here for a reason. Fear is here because of evil circumstances. You see, most people aren't afraid of doing good. It's the fear of doing bad and bad things happening. See, because good is always an issue that you really don't have to think about very much because you don't have to be afraid of the circumstances. Okay? And, those circumstances, they'll rob you. They'll rob you of everything that you care about because you'll hide, you'll lie, you'll cheat, you'll steal, you'll do everything so people won't think you're afraid. I'm scared. I'm scared of what's going to happen. And I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to get out of this in the way that I want to. I want luxury. I want good things to happen. But it's not going to happen like that, and I know it. So I want to be able to use this fear. Instead of a tool of evil, we need to do it in a situation where we can recognize it. Okay? It's an issue here where you have to say, well, I'm afraid because I don't know. I've heard things, and I'm afraid because I don't know. And if I remember correctly, somebody said, people perish for lack of knowledge because they're afraid, because they don't want to learn, because they think that, oh, wow, something else is happening. I don't know about you, but it's hot in here all of a sudden. I think I'm sweating. But, they're afraid because people are going to catch them, and they're going to look bad, and all these things are going to happen and stuff. And I'm like, well, okay. That's great, but if you were doing good things, you wouldn't have to worry about that. If you were just doing things on happen, and it just happened, what are you afraid about? But when you hide things and you do things, and it keeps you from having your goals, because when you're afraid, then all of a sudden your goals are secondary because the fear now has taken over. So fear means to stop. Fear means, well, don't do that because I'm afraid. Because I don't want those circumstances. So, it's one of those things that, you say to yourself, well, I can get over it. I'll go to therapy. But I'm going to tell you something right now. If something is stopping you from achieving or being an overcomer, it kind of reminds me of being setback, or something being put on you and you're not so much able to achieve your goals because now you're afraid and all these things are going on. So I'm looking at it from the point of saying, okay, if we do this correctly, and we look at this at a point of saying, well, how do we get out of this? How do we make this change? How do we do this? You got to get like-minded people. And it's bad that the overcoming thing is such a problem. But the fear will stop you from achieving work. It'll stop you from doing everything. It's just no action at all. And I'm a witness to that because of this depression thing. Oh my God, it was horrible. I didn't have it. Only time I think I have depression is when I don't want to get up in the morning. So, I understand that. So, at some point you have to look and say, well, okay, I'm going to either let this fear overtake me or I'm going to be an achiever. Or I'm going to achieve my goals in spite of my fear. Because I can guarantee you right now, we already know there's no monsters. The dark, there's nothing out there, really, except for some crazed human being that will eventually set your life back if he comes across to you. But the whole issue is to overcome the fear. You have to have that type of training. You have to have ways of physically, mentally, and spiritually going through the process of overcoming these things. I only say that because I'm a big person. I'm 6'6". People are afraid of me just from looking. And you know something? That's your problem. I was born this way. God made me this way. And by rights, I'm glad I'm not afraid. What am I afraid of? Little people? And the bad part about it is it's mostly you short people that are afraid. You're afraid that the guy's going to bully you. Bullies are very much afraid. They're afraid that people won't like them. So what do? They start bullying people first. Well, I'm going to get them before they get me. Do unto others before they do unto you? Bad motto. Don't do that. And of course, again, you have to practice being not afraid. Because if I remember correctly, somebody also said that fear is a tool that the devil uses. God don't give nobody a spirit of fear. Heard this, read it, feel it, know it, been living it for years. So I know several ways that you can get out of this fear thing. But it really, really, really is going to take some practice. You have to practice. If you don't practice, it's just like practice make perfect. Just like, being able to be better by pressing yourself, pushing yourself. But most people are afraid now. And it's like, let me just identify an issue. This issue has to do with the way the women in this society make themselves up to look good. And it's sad because it's actually not what God said. God said you're not to adorn yourself with these things. And then on top of that, the big issue is the fact that they use so many fake items, eyelashes, hair, nails, all kinds of lipstick and things like that, And, it's really sad, but men don't really have that problem, but they're attracted to those type of things. And I see why the women do it. But you still have to look at it and say, well, wait a minute, God gave me what I have right now. It's like me. I'm tall, dark, and ugly. There might be one or two people that might think that, tall, dark, and ugly is cool. I at least appreciated that my wife married me. But, it's one of those things. That's water under the bridge right now. To these days, all you got to do is have money. That's all. And sorry, I don't have that, so I'm done. So, if you look at some of the methods on how to overcome your fear, you have to look at it in a point of saying it's like exercising. Don't you know? And let me give you a tip. Exercising. I'm an expert at this. I've lost 10,000 pounds because in the wintertime I hibernate. I will sit and eat and do that day after day after day after day until this time, about February. Then all of a sudden I get up and I'm running, losing weight and everything else. And usually by March, I'm pretty well down. But the issue is you have to look at it as a conditioning. And even if there is a setback, it's still a conditioning because the next time you come back, you're stronger. I use this as an example because, okay, I'll run certain distance, and after I finish my workouts, like by summertime and it gets really too hot, I'll calculate what I've done, how far I've gone, how much I've improved, how much weight I've lost, things like that. And then I'll just, break down to 1 or 2 times a week, a lot of swimming, stuff like that, ocean stuff like that. But I can gauge because I've lost the pounds. But then I say, well, wait a minute, I can do the same thing in anything that I do. Practice, practice, practice. Oh, it's hard at first. Just go that 1 foot further. Go that other 2 feet further. Go that other 3 feet further. Go that other 4 feet further. Go that other 5 feet further. Each time, the next thing you know, you're going to win a mile. So, that's one way. The other way, communication. Communication with strangers. They ain't going to hurt you. And what the real big problem, and I see another reason for this fear, is the fact that the people in this country, in the United States, have now self-segregated themselves. So now you're afraid of everybody. You're afraid of your neighbors, you're afraid of the people down the street, you're afraid of because you self-segregated yourselves. You decided to go into each culture, and you decided to say, well, no, I'm just going to hang out with this culture of people because I understand them, they understand me. So that's cool, I understand that. So, because you're afraid, And please, I want everybody that's not watching this right now, when Eric Holder said that this was a country of cowards, I agree. Why? Because you're too scared to communicate. You're too scared to beat the very people that are about to run into this country, that 1% and 2%. You're now looking at another apartheid issue, another institutional poverty issue. Oh, Jim Crow, Willie Lynch, all these issues now come into place because the millionaires have now taken over. You have reason to be afraid. You do, because Trump's pissing everybody off now. You got England on the run. Oh, you don't want to partner with them because, we can get better money out of you. That's what's going to happen. Now, Iran. Lying, cheating, and stealing. Come on, baby. Now, please don't get me started until they get over there and start talking to this guy in North Korea. And China? South China Sea? You don't understand. And see, all this really is going to do is create a situation where the poor people will have to pay for everything. And again, I do understand your fears, but I can guarantee you one thing for sure. My master said, these things are but distractions. And I say to those people now, turn the camera off, do whatever you're doing. Turn off the TV, don't look at this right now, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm through. I'm fed up. And I'm going to spend my prayer time being the first, not the last. Even though I remember I told you I came to work at 4:45, and I'm getting the same money. Matter of fact, I'm getting better money than the millionaire. I only work for 15 minutes. Job's over at 5. Somebody just moved up a clock here recently. I tell you, everybody knows. These guys know, the scientists, everybody. The question is, do you know? Do you understand? So, last thought here. Reconnect. Find out what your gift is. Because if your gift is what I believe it is, it will counteract anything that has to do with fear. And that means everybody's gift. Why? Because once you understand what your gift is, you then begin to understand what an abundant life means. And I'm a nobody. Matter of fact, I'm the fool. Remember? Hair. Master's butt. So, thank you, people. I pray things are going well. I just hope you're listening, but not listening. Just try to be honest. Because believe me, by the time I finish with these instances at the end of this year, You should really write this down. Because the guy that just left office, he actually saved our country. He gave us another little bit of time. But that's only because I don't think everybody was doing what I'm doing right now. But now, since I begin and I listen, I hear, just like the clock, just like the science, just like the understanding. Don't you know that the Catholic people have a pope now that is more concerned about the poor than the wealthy? You know it's shake-up time now, baby. Because I can guarantee you right now, a lot of people are afraid to be poor. I'm living in a tent in heaven. Yeah. In a tent. Camping in the woods. By a stream. In heaven. I don't know where you gonna be. I don't need a mansion. 4-bedroom tent ought to do me just fine. Good luck, people. Fear not. See you later. Bye.